The psychedelic revolution is here. If you want to integrate your visionary experiences into your purpose, get clear on your entrepreneurial path, and help people while you do what you love, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, Medicine for These Times. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a spiritual business coach, 3-time entrepreneur, and a lifelong student of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. You carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times. This podcast will help you to share your medicine so you can create transformation in the world. Listen in on conversations with psychedelic leaders, changemakers, and conscious entrepreneurs who are living proof that a better world is possible when you follow your heart and live in alignment with your soul. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Psychedelic Entrepreneur, Medicine for These Times. I'm Beth Weinstein. So I am going to talk today about psychedelic leadership and what it really is, or just leadership in general. This came up last week as I am currently on my friend Shireen Sun's summit about leading with the heart. And me and Shireen have been collaborating together for many years. We had some similar coaches over the years, and we've had the same leadership training as well. So we both do very similar work in business coaching for spiritual entrepreneurs. And her and I were talking about this idea of what is leadership. And I figured I would do a podcast about this because I remember many years ago, as I was really starting out in my coaching business and putting myself out there in a new way, my former coach kept talking about leadership. And the first thought I had was, well, I'm not a leader. I'm not famous. I don't have a huge following. I, only have a few clients. And this was many years ago. And I had already been running a business, and I had already done some pretty big things in my career. I'd had 2 previous businesses. I had done a lot of collaborative projects, helping run 200 female-identified goddess retreat for many years with my friend Janny. I had put on a really incredible 3-day event with my friend East Forest, the musician, that was back in, I think, 2015, something like that. It was a while ago. And so I've been a natural leader. I just never really considered myself as a leader. And that word leader and leadership sounded so triggering. It sounded so intense. It sounded like it was really saved only for famous people or big authors or, people with big followings or people who are making multiple millions. And so after some time, and I had actually done former landmark leadership training. I had done all the landmark series way back in 1997 through 2001. Yes, that whole time. Or it was like 98 through 2001. And Landmark has a program all about leadership, which I did. And again, as part of that program, we had to put on this big project and get all these other people to participate and put ourselves out there. And of course, I still never thought of myself as a leader. And then when I was talking with my friend the other week, we were doing an Instagram Live together and talking about her summit, which is filled with just incredible female-identified, or I don't know if that's even true. There might be people of all genders in her summit. I forgot, but she put together this incredible summit with leaders, people who are doing really big things in the world, who have put themselves out there and even said things and created whole movements that were considered very taboo back when they started speaking about it. So her and I were talking about what is leadership? What is this really all about? And here's the thing. So there's leadership in the old paradigm, and then there's leadership in the new paradigm. And if you don't know these paradigms, and there is no definition of what these paradigms are, this is what I consider the old paradigm that a lot of us come from, and this new paradigm that I consider myself living in, and a lot of my clients and a lot of listeners, where Back in the old days, we were raised to believe that we should be competing against one another, and we are all just here to make a lot of money and outdo one another and claw our way to the top. This is for any of you like me who worked in corporate. I had a corporate career for about 15 years. This was very normal to do what it took to get promoted and move your way to the top, including not collaborating with people and not helping one another out. This is why I couldn't take it any longer in corporate America. It just did not align with who I was or my values. So I went to tech startups where it was definitely a little more empowering, where they really encourage you to take ownership of your role at the business or at the company as your own business. And that's when I really started stepping into my power when I worked in tech. And then also, and I had leadership roles when I was in corporate. I just, again, it was all about like collect a paycheck, work your way to the top, and hope for the best and survive, right? And it wasn't until I got into entrepreneurship that I truly learned what leadership is all about, at least in my personal opinion. And what this new paradigm of leadership is, where leaders today are collaborators, they're cooperators. They want to help instead of fight against. They want to help one another. Like here I am doing a collaboration with someone who literally does almost the same thing as me, just slightly different. We have slightly different setups in our business, but we're both spiritually based business coaches with somewhat, similar values, and we help pretty similar clients for the most part. And there we are collaborating and helping one another for the greater good, for a cause that's larger than us. And this is what I believe to be this kind of new paradigm of leadership, whether you call it psychedelic leadership or spiritual leadership or just any kind of leadership. It is about, and this is all connected to, this idea of stepping into this Aquarian age where it is about the whole, the collective versus the I, which is very individual. So, and I can get really deep into history here, but for thousands and thousands of years, humanity has been on this path of working all for the I, for the individual, and it was all about individualizing and really, fending for yourself. And again, this idea of doing what it took to survive, even if that meant you're leaving others behind or not helping your coworkers or, even friends. And it's this kind of competitive, patriarchal paradigm, which, by the way, this has nothing to do with actually masculine energy, but we have all seen this patriarchal society that is dominated by this kind of man eat man, human eat human world. And this other paradigm, which some people call, feminine leadership, which, sometimes I like that term. And sometimes the one thing I don't like about it is this form of feminine leadership actually does apply to men or male identified humans as well as female identified humans and women. So it's not about being an actual woman. It is about approaching everything in a different mindset, in a different paradigm of for the greater good, for the collective, for creating change and transformation, which then, when you're connected and committed to something greater than you, it also does support you. So this is how I've been running my business for many years. And a few years ago, I actually took this really intense leadership training, which I always highly recommend to all my clients. Especially if they finish my Mastermind program, I say, look, the next thing, the one thing you could do to really grow your business is do some really hardcore leadership training, because it will break your ego down and get your shit out of the way and have you really step into your power. And power as a positive term, meaning really owning what's inside of you, stepping into your heart and being able to stand up as a leader in the world, whether you have an audience of 200 people or an audience of 200,000 people, it actually doesn't make a difference. We can all be leaders. We're all here to be leaders if that's what you're feeling called to do. So what I've dealt with a lot over the years with my clients who are in my group mastermind program or even my private clients is a lot of fears and doubts that come up around, who am I to do this? I feel like an imposter. I'm not good enough, or I'm scared of what people will think. These are some of the biggest limitations and limiting beliefs and fears and doubts that I hear from everybody who joins my programs. It's, it's an archetype, right? We're all humans and we all have the same fears on some level. I remember having that fear as well. It's like, what will people think when I start speaking up about my psychedelic experiences and how they've shaped my purpose and my business and my life and helped me heal a lot of really deep level traumas and, other things that were really holding me back from living what I believe is my divine purpose. So I felt this call to speak about it for years, and I was afraid to. So of course I went through this, and I did a lot of the inner work to get past my own ego-based self. Like this part of me, there's this ego that we all have, no matter who you are and what you're doing. Everyone has an ego, and it's okay. It's not something we want to shut down, but it is something that we can start to bring awareness to, this part of ourselves that wants to just constantly stay safe and stay in the same place and live in a safe place that is not going to bring us into that place of fear or doubt. And so what happens is our ego-based mind keeps us in this place of being frozen, where we can't share our voice, or we don't think we're good enough, or we feel like we need more training, or who am I to be doing this? That is this part of your brain that actually wants to protect you. It's, this part of our brain that used to think, or that used to actually be chased by lions and tigers, and now we're actually not. So there's really nothing to be afraid of, except the world that we're in is, now we're dealing with divisiveness and differences of opinions and social media, and a lot more people, maybe hating on what you say or canceling or criticizing. We have all this, but you're not going to die from any of it. It's not going to actually cause your death or even a physical ailment. It might cause some heart pain or might make you feel bad, but that is actually just this part of you, the ego-based mind that wants to feel safe and secure and held. So when you step into your leadership, this part of you is really put to the test. It's it really is about putting aside that part of you that just wants to stay feeling safe and secure, which, by the way, I put safe in quotes because nothing, if we actually want to look at this on a deeper level, nothing is safe. There is no such thing, right? What does safe mean? The only thing that is truly safe, what I believe, is your connection to your soul and spirit. And maybe the fact that we are currently standing on the earth, that is somewhat safe, right? But maybe not, because anything can happen. But there really is no true safety, and we are all going to die no matter what. You cannot avoid it. I don't care if you're Elon Musk. You just can't avoid death. So really, when you start to shift your perspective, and a lot of this actually came through my Buddhism, my work with Buddhism for many, many years, and going deep into this idea of impermanence and that nothing is permanent. So when you start to take a step back and really engage your observer mind, which is not your mind that's thinking and scared and feeling this and what will people think, but really this outside you observing you. And you take a step back and you realize oh, that's just this part of my mind that's scared. And then there's this other part of my being that I believe is very soul-based. It's your soul, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter. They're all kind of similar, a little different. But, in the end, it's your you-ness, your essence, your soul, your inner being wants something more. It's being called to something greater. You're maybe being called to serve or help others or create transformation or start sharing your psychedelic story or start sharing your own unique medicine, whatever it is, taking a step towards your psychedelic, business or your spiritual business. Doesn't matter. But when you really step back and observe these two parts of yourself that are constantly dancing between what you really want and what you feel like is coming through you, through your heart, through your body, through your cells, your being, and then that part of you that's like, no, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. It doesn't matter what you're scared of. It's like, it could be anything. The leadership aspect is really being able to observe that part of you that is scared or afraid or doesn't want to do something or doesn't feel good enough or doesn't feel XYZ enough, and to just observe it and see it and say, okay, I see you. This is something the Buddha said. I forgot the exact story, but I think it was during his time of sitting where he sat and sat and sat under the tree until his enlightenment. But he said, I see you, Mara. And Mara represents this ego, fear-based mind. And it was just like, okay, I see you. I see you. That's it. All you have to do is recognize it and just observe it and observe these two aspects of your being that feel pulled in different directions. And the true leadership comes from really putting your energy and your being first before the fear. It's like love versus fear. According to the Course in Miracles, this is all that exists in reality, and which is actually what I believe as well, is that everything is either love or fear. But our nature and the nature of everything in our reality is essentially love. It's our ego illusion mind that gets the fear involved, right? But it is not the nature of our reality. It is not, like babies are not born into fear. I mean, maybe, but you know what I mean? It's like our essence is inherently love. So when you really are able to see this and, as I always say, mission over ego, like really put your soul, your higher self, your divine purpose, your divine calling before the fears, that is the biggest aspect of your leadership. And to really then question, like, what is your motivation? What is your intention behind everything? Is it for you to just make money, or is it for you to be of service to something bigger than you? And all of my clients that join my mastermind program or work with me are all on the path of being of service to something bigger than them. I actually do not work with people who are purely about, like, I just want to make money because I heard that coaching is an easy way to make money. If that's you, you're not right for my programs, number one. And number two, it's actually not going to get you that far, because when you're in the transformational field, you really do have to come from this place of standing for something greater than you and your attachments and your ego. All the money is, and there's nothing wrong with making money. I love making money. I absolutely love it. I make great money, but it's that attachment, that clinging is still part of that ego-based paradigm. But when you come from this other abundance-based paradigm of, I'm just here to follow my calling, put myself out there, serve others, and work from this place of my deeper mission, my why, whatever you want to call it. This point at the top of the pyramid, I use this analogy all the time. If you've ever been to any of my free workshops, the point at the top that is the beacon of light that is guiding you in all that you do. When you just constantly are connected to that and realize that you are here incarnated at this time in history, like this incredible, amazing time of transformation and change. And I mean, my God, if you haven't noticed, it's all around us. And if you put all that before anything else and lead from that place of the heart, of the soul, of that guiding light of what are you here for? What is your contribution to the collective, to the earth, to humanity, to the universe? Doesn't matter what you call it. That's where you actually end up becoming the leader and have more success. And then when you're being guided from that place, from that higher place of like what your mission is, what your soul wants to do, what you're being called to do, then the decisions that you make for your business are going to be about something that's much bigger than just you and your ego and your fear and your grabbing and your attachment. And this is why the new paradigm is about collaboration, about cooperation, about working together, about helping one another out. about giving and being generous and not having expectations of receiving back, but giving from that pure place in the heart that really is all about something bigger than you. And I have found over the years, the more I operate from this place of my business is beyond me. My business has nothing to even do with me. It's literally just me opening up my channel and following what's coming through me. Even this podcast right now, like about 10 minutes ago, I was like, what do I talk about? And then it just popped into my head or popped into my heart or popped into my soul. And voila, here I am talking about it. And the more you are just divinely guided and really pay attention to that and stay connected to this greater being, this greater part of you, and this greater vision that you have for not only your life, but for the world, everything actually starts to work out a lot easier. Meaning, I have made more money and gotten more clients and grown my business more, the more I'm just in my leadership working from this larger place of it's not just about me and it's about something bigger. Yes, of course, you do need to have the tangible processes and steps and support in place to make it a reality. Like here I am filming a podcast, right? Of course, there's the masculine steps that you need to have people hear your message. But really, it doesn't matter if it's 10 people hearing your message or 10,000 or 10 million. You can be a leader if you just choose to step into it. And this is a big part of what I do inside of my group mastermind program. It's very interesting because I've never promoted it as a leadership program, but I do bring in a lot of these mindset shifts and different somatic therapeutic techniques and also different mindset techniques to shift your perception to have you feel much more confident and really connect to that place in your heart that knows you're here for something bigger. And this is a huge part of what goes on inside of my mastermind program. It is a much deeper journey than just learning steps to grow your business and learning marketing. Because here's the thing, all the marketing in the world will not work if you don't have these other points taken care of, meaning operating from the right place, really being connected to something deeper within you, getting your own ego and fears out of the way. The marketing, it won't resonate on an energetic level. And also people will start to see through it. They'll see like, well, something about that doesn't seem authentically her or him or they. So, this is why doing this deeper inner work, shifting your mindset, getting past all the blocks, really stepping into this place of your internal personal power, of really owning your unique medicine and being in your leadership, this is the key to getting big results in your business. Not to say you won't get results just by doing all the other steps, but the ones who really grow big and start to get a lot of clients and make big changes and make a lot of money in their business are the ones that are really stepping into their leadership. So whether you're feeling called to be a psychedelic pioneer or aligned entrepreneur, a spiritual entrepreneur, doesn't really matter. You are here to be a leader. It's part of your calling. So I just wanted to talk about that. I hope it was helpful. There's so much more I could say. If you want to learn more about my group mastermind program, enrollment is open now. There are currently about 24, 25 people in it. They are incredible human beings from all over the world, and they are here to be psychedelic leaders, be pioneers in the fields that they're in, mostly coaches, healers, therapists, people who are doing really big work, who are here to create transformation and change on the planet and in their lives as well. So if you're feeling called towards something bigger this year, just check out the mastermind link right here on my YouTube, my website, or click through the show notes and you'll see more. And if you're interested, you can book a call and we can talk to see if you're the right fit or if I'm the right fit for you. Lots of love, and I will see you next week with another episode. Bye. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're feeling inspired, I'd appreciate it if you showed your love with a review. And check out my YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast. You can also head to bethaweinstein.com to learn more about me and grab my free business growth trainings. Remember, you carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times.